All right. Well, things are clicked. We're here. It's week 6, and we need a funny thing.
Yeah, I got another hypothetical for you.
You got another? Okay, everything's a little greener.
I've got another one. Yeah, everything's a little green. Now that everything is a little bit green for you, would you rather have all the abilities of a beetle or all of the abilities of a flying ant?
So
and once you activate these abilities, you temporarily become that animal. So like if you were lifting something really heavy, you would become like the size of like a however tall you are. Let's say you're like 5'10", you'd become a 5'10" beetle man whenever you try to lift something too heavy.
What are the powers of a flying ant other than flying?
You fly.
Is that it? I'm just a flying ant?
Well, yeah, but you also look like a flying ant. But you're like a 5'10" flying ant. That'd be pretty fucking crazy, I think.
I would normally take the ant, but I'm terrified of that fungus that eats your brain.
Yeah, you'd also sound like a giant flying ant. You'd be like...
Is that the sound an ant makes?
I don't know. Maybe a 5'10" one would.
Welcome back, everybody, to week 6 of Double Dip Draft. I'm your host, Cabral, not an ant, coach of the Hatchling Age of Slashers. Joining me once again.
I'm Claire of the Maryland Manectrix, and I might be a beetle.
Yeah, but everything's a little greener regardless. Week 5 was fun. And we've now entered week 6. So this week is literally do or die for a couple players, but at this point, I believe we can safely assume the Heerlen Hawluchas is locked away, probably for the bye this week due to differential. Like, it's possible to lose this week and next week for sure. But even so, for sure guaranteed playoffs, no matter what. Already locked in for that stuff.
Right.
Martian Mantines, only with 9 positive differential out of 4-1, can still fall out of contention.
Yeah, it's not impossible for him to fall out of contention.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty close. I mean, you've got 2 people with 3s, and you've got 2 people with 2s.
Yep.
And we're going to see if somebody could win. Someone with a 2-win might win. That would make your position a little bit more dangerous. If you lose this week at 4 wins, you're not exactly sitting pretty. You've got to be on your guard.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're going to see how that develops going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe for some people on the bottom 2 positions, if they can pick up some wins, honestly, it's just making the stats look a little bit better. So
yeah,
I think there's never really a reason to consider yourself out of the running. I think it's always great to just give it your best go, work on improving them stats. Always very nice.
Yeah. Before we jump into the matches, I want to bring up the other divisions. Normally we don't do this, but it's so fascinating to me. So the idea that, 2nd to 4th place is up for grabs still in Scarlet, right? And that's fairly common in seasons. Hop over the teal. You have 4 players with 2 wins and 3 losses. And up to 2nd place is still up for contention at this point.
It's nuts.
Go check out Teal
looking
Division.
Crazy.
It might be
like going into week 5. Yeah. I wouldn't count anybody out for getting a pretty solid playoffs position here. It's nuts.
Yeah, it is absolutely pretty crazy at this point. And we can't say stuff for Teal because, well, we don't actually have the final results just yet for Teal Division.
We don't. Yeah, we're waiting on a match.
Yeah, we kind of
as of the time of this recording.
Yeah. Hopefully that's been done and taken care of. But either way, well, actually this is week 5, so we do technically have those here. Either way, though, we're gonna move on quickly and swiftly to our first match of the week, which is Sprued, coach of the Southtown Sandslashers, versus Rowan of the Lansdowne Luxrays.
mentioned this in week 5 that Spood has gotten 2 trades, and we've seen them both packed in this match. We're seeing Blood Moon Ursaluna and Dragonite. Do we know? I think he traded them from the Cracked Crick Tunes over in the Heal division, I want to say.
Yep, so Spood had traded over Walking Wake and another...
Sandy Shocks.
Sandy Shocks, yeah. And Spood is very excited to finally use these Pokemon. He was hoping to have gotten them for the last week's match, but that did not happen. But he finally gets to use his new toys against Growlin over here, who, matchup-wise, kind of struggles against Ursaluna Blood Moon, not gonna lie.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of trouble here because Ursaluna, Blood Moon is pretty unique. You know, compared to regular Ursaluna, it's actually special more than it is physical. And it's got some pretty solid coverage. It's got a pretty good special ability. Allows it to hit Ghost-type Pokemon.
Yeah,
it has a
Eye.
good physical move. Yeah. And its
signature
signature move.
Signature special move is Blood Moon, which is a ground 140 base power attack.
Is it ground?
Normal.
I could have sworn Blood Moon was. Yeah, I could have.
It's normal.
Yeah, it's a lot like Gigaton Hammer, where you can't use it 2 times in a row, but it's just an extremely strong move. So you got to watch out for this thing. You know, in my week 6, I was equally as worried about regular Ursalunas. I think Ursaluna Blood Moon is a pretty good switch-in that's going to do a lot for Spood's team going forward, and we're going to see if it makes those ripples going forward into this match now, won't we?
Absolutely. Click. Starting off with Poltegeist, your favorite.
My favorite Pokemon, and going forward, we will actually see that I have perfectly predicted this set in scrims. Because Cody does have 2 dark types, so establishing a sweeping Poltegeist where you're not allowed to fighting Terra.
Yep.
It would bog you down, so I think Rowan made the right move going for this Poltegeist set.
Yeah, well, I also encouraged him to go for the Poltegeist, I believe, if I remember correctly, in our scrims, because I saw you use it in Season 6.
Yep, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Switching out again, going to this thing, clicking knockoff, which is great. Getting rid of the clay is super helpful. Dazzling Gleam, doing a bit of damage, not a ton, but Season's Edge coming and getting up some spikes, which is so helpful. And we've seen Cody do a lot of switching around last game.
Right. So the spikes would definitely benefit here. Ursaluna.
That's a covert cloak.
Revealing. That's a covert cloak right there. Set up. I mean, you're probably going to see Covert Cloak a lot in a division against Garg, which we did with Nick, also packing a Covert Cloak on his Goodra.
Yeah. And Vacuum Wave just cleaning that up, and Blood Moon is so free into this whole team because it hits everything.
Jolteon, that might have... Oh, no, that was a whoop, so he accidentally brought Jolteon out and switched into Garg.
Yep.
At this point, though, honestly, getting anything to deal with Ursaluna Blood Moon is very hard.
Yeah, I believe the Jolteon Terra, if I take a gander,
is ice.
Looks like it's Ice-type Terra again, which is a solid Terra for Jolteon, by the way.
It's very good.
A fast Ice type is probably one of the best Ice types you can get. Fast-hitting hard Ice type, specifically. Because Ice hits almost everything. Seeing some quiver dances go off over here, and at this point Cody's really set up. Goes into Terrify, Revelation Dance, doing 54 in front of a screen.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Brown cooking, alluring voice.
Revelation Dance. Cinerod is cooking here.
Yeah.
Aqua Cutter. Yeah. Root Bonnet is just a physical beast. It's got pretty good physical spreads.
Yeah.
The Spore.
I'm wondering
also
if
there.
Sacred Sword was actually there to deal with this, because Sacred Sword would have done quite a bit of damage to
Yeah. Has it revealed Sacred Sword yet? I don't think we've seen
I don't believe it has at all. Nope. It might have it. I don't know for sure. Screamtail coming back out into this thing. Salt Cured, which is always a pain, but this thing's probably here to set up screens one more time. Yep. Iron defensing. Iron defense is interesting because this is not running body press.
No, so that's very curious. Again, just like last week, you're packing iron defense, although...
Because I think the idea initially with that set was kind of bulky stall stuff. Where you kind of just sit and take some hits and just salt cure everything.
Right.
But it doesn't look like it's kind of prep for this specific match this week.
Poltergeist comes out with the light screen, but the defog is just clearing it all out.
Yep.
And unfortunately, a body press from Garg would have been great here, but we're just not seeing it. And thanks to Ursaluna's special contributions instead of physical, Garg is just having a much worse time.
But that's okay. Now that's been disabled. Oh wait, it went away.
Yeah.
Cutter doing nothing to Fushigi.
Yeah. I'm surprised the Ursaluna didn't go for a vacuum wave, but I'm sure Cody ran the calc saw that. Yeah. He's just playing super carefully, and I can't blame him.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he just wants to. As you've been seeing, we've been seeing a lot of switches from Cody, but it's a very calculated what he's doing and how he's playing.
Yeah. I'm sure.
He's still got 6 Pokemon, and he seems fully intent.
He hasn't even brought out Dragonite.
Yeah.
And if we know anything about Dragonite, it's that it does not go down in a hit.
Mm-hmm.
You could have packed a Parablast Ice, and Dragonite still would not be going down.
Yeah, Vacuum Wave just kills that thing.
Ursaluna, how many kills did it get this match?
I think all of them, actually.
Jeez.
I believe it was all of them. It killed Mimikyu. It killed Vacuum Wave Moltres. It killed Garg just now.
It killed Poltergeist.
Yep.
And then it killed the last one. Yeah, Ursaluna just got all the kills there.
Yep. This thing already
amazing work
on Spood's team.
Yeah, Ursaluna just put in insane amounts of work. Yeah. Amazing job. Bumping it up 6 kills. Definitely in contention for kill leader if he can do it again next week. So I think that brings it up to like 11 kills, I want to say.
And I'm certain we'll mention that in week 7. I'll kind of bring it up here.
I'm sure.
You can get dippies for like kill lead, best coach, and there's a couple other dippies. I think worst luck, which I'm hoping to vie for. My 10-turn freeze I think is worst luck, on top of getting crit at the end of it.
Yeah, you did end up winning, but I still wouldn't be surprised if that.
That's still bad luck, regardless.
If it was at least a nominee, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, still, Ursaluna, amazing job. Pretty good win from Spood, very decisive. Not a whole lot to say. I mean, Ursaluna just kind of did so much work.
I mean, that's what Ursaluna does.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Work.
Good reason to be afraid of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, on to the next match then.
Yeah, who we got?
We've got Swoopman Vincent of the Heerlen Hawluchas and Menma of the Martian Mantines. So both of these, I think going into this, they might be like top 2 for the division so far. Yes. So neither one of them are struggling to stay afloat, although... Actually, I feel like Menma would really like a win here to at least cement his position, because like we mentioned at the beginning with the dynamics of Scarlet division.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, Menma's 4th right now, so Menma getting a win here would be...
Menma?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Minnesota Jynx. Right. I was looking at Martian Mansion. Oh, my God.
No. Minnesota Jynx,
please forgive me.
4. A win here would actually really ensure, contention or making playoffs.
Yeah. So I mentioned at the beginning, I introduced them as the Martian Mantines. Please forgive me. They're the Minnesota Jynx.
You're lucky we don't
so
fire
many
people in the studio.
Oh my God! Yeah, out of a cannon. I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah, the firing is actually physical too. Like we don't pay people here. I'm not paid, but we do fire you out of cannons.
That would suck. Okay.
And you're not a flying ant, so you cannot fly yourself away.
I am a beetle. I have all the strength of a beetle, and I would not be able to save my fall. But anyways, going into this, we got the Menma Classic, Arch and Pelipper, very nice. Kingdra and Latios, so that's just an OU rain team.
A very watery team overall, because here's the thing I noticed. One, Archulodon loves its the electric move, whatever it's called. I can't remember right now. Electro something, the really big one. I can't remember what it's called. Either way, loves that. Lando's here. On top of that,
Lando.
Tatsugiri's here. That gets Storm Drain.
Yeah. What else does it get? It gets Commander, but Dondozo is not here, and also this is singles.
Yep.
So you're pretty much only going to be running Storm Drain.
Which is pretty solid because Storm Drain, because Gastrodon also gets Storm Drain. And that basically it's Water Absorb, but you get a special attack increase.
Yeah, and when you're against a team that is running so much water, it thrives in the water. And we also notice that Tatsugiri is a ground Terra type, so it covers so much of Menma's team, and we're going to see how much work Tatsugiri can pull off going into this match.
Yeah, we do start with Bisharp, which has done a ton of work for Spookman this season, and Rain coming out right away, Stealth Rock's going up, U-Turn coming out, and we're probably going to go into Zaru, because this thing gets close combat or Drain Punch or something.
It gets absurd cover. I think it gets like low kick, Drain Punch.
Yeah.
A lot of fighting moves, actually.
I'm a little surprised we switched out there. It gets poison moves too, and just kind of kills the Bombi, especially with the Trailblaze.
Although it's also a grass and dark type, so against the bug.
That's what I was thinking of.
Electroshot. Here is the Vincent special, as we are about to find out.
Mirror Coat.
Mirror Coat. We know that Vincent does love his Mirror Coat. He mentions in the chat the spirit of Araquanid lives on. Beautiful Season 5 reference where in playoffs against me, he got the win, making use of that Mirror Coat. So Vincent is definitely aware of when to pull off his counters. So that's a very good bet on a Loam.
Yeah.
Tentacruel just soaking so many hits.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, it's
back in though and just set up some rain.
So much. His team is just so bulky.
Yeah, Weatherball doing 48 to this thing.
48.
That's a high roll actually, but I don't know the calc for sure. Hey, look, Storm Drain.
Here comes the Storm Drain.
Here comes the Rapid Spin. Now this thing goes fast and hits really hard. I think it's base 125 special attack, and we see Terra Dragon.
Base 125.
Ground. Not outspeeding a Swift Swim, but surviving the hit to Draco Meteor back.
Yep.
What
the Terra Ground was a very savvy play. Tatsugiri, 120. That's nuts.
Yeah, Rapid Spin coming back out for Cryogonal. Pelipper loves low kicks. It does nothing to its little tiny feet. I'm amazed it even has feet. I never think of it with feet, actually. And Lola Mola coming back out. Latia's coming in to try and deal with this thing. Protecting just the Scout. Draco Meteor is extremely free in most of this team. And then just sacking this to a Draco. Kind of a shame. I think this is probably Specs or Scarf sets.
Right.
Because that could have been nice to click something else and save the Draco.
Right. Cryogonal. It would have been probably more savvy if Vincent tried to go for a super effective move.
Yeah.
Cryogonal healing up so it's ready to be a pest for a little bit longer.
Yep.
Pelipper roosted too, so. Yeah, Menma just healing up as much as possible, and in front of Bisharp. Very nice.
Draco doing 78% damage, but
and again,
Mirror Coat.
The Mirror Coat. You know, probably hoping that killed, but unfortunately it didn't.
I'm a little surprised we didn't see a Trailblaze Zarude come out against that thing there.
Yeah, I think Zarude would be pretty free against a Loam.
By the way,
I don't think it's revealed.
Black Sludge and Rain Dish on this thing is crazy, and Vincent's so crazy for the rain. Crit was great.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you're against Pelipper. You're probably gonna build for it.
Yeah. Swords dance, dancing swords. Trailblaze, nice. Gets you the speed. This thing actually can reverse sweep what's left here if we can.
It can.
That actually cost the game.
It did. It genuinely did, because the rest of the game could have been cleaned up with a drain punch.
Yep. And that was such a rough roll from 42 to 48. That difference is crucial.
Yeah, that could have, if that was just like a medium roll, Bisharp could have gone down here. I don't know if that would have guaranteed the win, but
yeah, it would have at least saved some turns. Yep, saved some turns for Rain, because we're running out of Rain turns, and with Wish, Protect, and Pelipper can't do enough damage to kill this stuff. But this was actually one of the tighter games for Spookman, I believe.
Yeah. So the extra turn, so Rain runs out on this turn.
Yep, which frees up
and Landers comes in now. Unfortunately, I don't think getting the high roll on Weather Ball would have mattered that much, because he could have also just eaten up the extra turn with Bisharp. I think it would have ended very similarly.
Oh yeah, with Protect.
Probably would have brought it to a 1-0 if the Weather Ball was a little bit better of a roll, but
yeah,
I think once Zarude unfortunately missed its Power Whip, this is where we were heading, so
yeah.
Really unfortunate. Menma really genuinely could have pulled off the win here, just as long as that didn't miss, but
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's how Pokemon is sometimes. Yeah. My heart goes out to Menma. It just sucks, man. But despite how it went, you played very well and tried to shore up the difference with Pelipper, and you certainly did.
Oh yeah.
You played your Pelipper very well. My props to you.
Absolutely, well done.
You're still looking pretty good. So
yeah, we'll see the final results here at the end of all of these matches and stuff for week 7. I can't believe we're already there. But we have another match coming up here. We do have Bananas of the Bananas team. I'm kidding. It's the Don't Drop That to Dedennes versus Rayhai, Black Captain of the Martian Mantines. And I see Sprigatito, I see Golden Go,
Sprigatito?
Yeah, Sprigatito. No, it's
Sprigatito, not Meowscarada.
No, there's no Meowscarada anymore.
He does like naming it Sprigabeepo, so to be honest, I very closely almost called it Sprigatito too.
Volcanion, I think this is the first time we've actually seen Ursaring here. Uniclus is here, as well as Vikavolt.
Yeah, this is the first time we're seeing Ursaring. Very nice. We're going to see how much that pays off. We're seeing Incineroar and Decidueye coming out. Those are going to be pretty interesting plays.
I like Quagsire. Quagsire funny. He gets unaware.
Yeah, Quagsire
water
funny.
absorb. We also see the rock thing you talked about last week, and that you
Iron Boulder,
overrated, and it kind of dies too.
I don't think it's overrated. I just think it's like a little hard to get in there. Like, you have to be very careful. I think it's like the perfect example of a glass cannon.
That's fair.
You just gotta be careful. I don't think it's overrated. I just think you have to be mindful of its weaknesses, because it's a very, like I said, it's glass cannon. It hits very hard, but you have to be aware of its weaknesses, because it's not really, if it takes one, it's not gonna take a second. I can guarantee you that.
Hey, I totally used the wrong word anyways. Like, my brain grabbed a word and it kind of threw it in there. So my brain assumes I'm always right, but that's not always the case. But even then, looking at it, because Rock is weak to Steel. Rock is weak to Grass. It's weak to U-turns. It's weak to Vikavolt.
It's weak to Bug.
It's weak to ground. Water.
It's weak to water.
Grass.
So I think Bananas... Immediately, I think it has an immediate weakness to 4 Pokemon here. But Reuniclus also likes running Shadow Ball, so that brings it up to 5. Ursaring could be running Earthquake. That brings it up to 6 weaknesses. So if you want to play your Iron Boulder.
At a glance, I've noticed this. Volcanion being Water Fire is so good into this whole team. Because like a lot of Fire types, Fire types often get Solar Beam.
They do.
Or some sort of grass coverage sometimes. It's a little surprising.
Yes.
But like water
So
and
that
fire
hits so many things.
goes so hard at this team. But I think we'll just have to see how that plays out then, because we do have Vikavolt coming out, probably setting up webs of some sort. Hey, there it is. Little surprise, I didn't see a Mystical Fire is so good actually on this thing.
Yeah, I think that's why Captain Predator is getting Magius out.
Yeah, I was just surprised that a Rapid Spin there, but you know what? That's fair. It really just takes care of that. Rocky
The
Helmet.
knockoff. Incineroar. Now going to deal some
herb.
damage. I wonder, that must have been for like some sort of taunt, maybe?
Oh, maybe.
I think that's what Mental Herb really does. I know it shakes off some other stuff, but
Yeah.
mainly
That's
taunt,
a
I'm
belly
gonna say.
drum.
Yeah.
Trailblaze for the speed again. Kind of crazy. This thing living another
Leaf
hit.
Blade.
Yeah.
You don't want to be met with any sort of priority.
I wonder if this thing is guts.
It has Facade, so I'm probably gonna say.
Yeah, but it
I
wasn't.
wonder what item it was running. It didn't reveal its item.
No, it couldn't have been a Flame Orb because I would have gone off earlier, so I'm a little surprised. Hey, look, Solar Beam.
Ooh, yeah, hey, there's a Solar Beam.
We also saw a
with some
Flame
pretty
Charge
fucking
there.
crazy coverage.
Steam Eruption.
Yes.
That kills. Iron Boulder.
So this is
Slowed by speed.
This is unfortunate. So the photosynthesis, because of the sticky web, was attack and not speed.
Yeah.
So that's so unfortunate. Like, I feel like if the sticky webs were not there, or at least if photosynthesis triggered speed instead of attack, Iron Boulder really could have been in the game there. It could have at least posed a serious threat to Volcanion, at least forced it to switch out.
Yeah.
So those webs turn one really came back to bite it. And, I'm giving Iron Boulder some major credit here. Just to prove that I'm not giving it the overrated allegations. If it wasn't for the sticky webs, that thing would have gone insanely hard going forward.
Yeah, I don't think there's any allegation about that. I think, again, I just used a word that wasn't necessarily appropriate for the moment.
Yeah, but although, Volcanion did have its +1 speed, so, even if Proto triggered speed, if it was a max speed Volcanion, I think it still would have outsped.
Probably. Volcanion is
Probably.
not super fast, but it's
262, but I wonder if he built it you'd have to wonder if he built it like Timid or Modest.
Ooh, that's a fair point. But yeah, because Volcanion is
older.
base 70 speed. It's not super slow, but it is 130 special attack.
Yeah.
And it just goes so hard.
262 times 1.5 is 393, which is higher than a base speed Iron Boulder.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so crazy to conceptualize, because Iron Boulder is so fast. It's so fast.
Yeah. It's extremely fast.
But yeah, I think that was a good game played on both sides. Volcanion just hit its groove, and you really don't want Volcanion hitting.
Yeah, the Power Herb Solar Beam is such a solid little move because, you see this. Yeah.
It has the grass water coverage. It hits the trifecta.
It does.
And I don't think any team, not just Black Captain, I don't think you want any team facing that trifecta.
You really don't.
Unless you were a dragon type, but
Ooh.
I'm sure even then. Volcanion has plans. It's Volcanion.
Well, we're moving on to our last match of Week 6, and we get to take a look at some numbers as we look into Week 7. I'm actually excited to see where everyone's sitting at as we come to a close on this whole season.
Yeah.
But we're down to our last match. Who do we got?
We have Jake of the San Fran Furrets versus Nick Whiteloaf of the Loafville Lanturns.
Yeah, I've seen these Pokemon before.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jake is bringing the exact same team from last week.
Yeah. I do know that Jake had a bit of an issue literally just before his match. He did make a new team. I guided him through building a new set. And as he was transferring it over, it didn't save server side, like server wide, because he went from like a tablet to a phone or vice versa or something like that. And because of that, he just brought the same team and didn't want to rebuild everything to keep his opponent waiting.
Right.
But you had mentioned, Claire, that absolutely you can actually save to the server itself. And that'll allow you to have transfer between all your different games.
Right. Which I think is a feature that they rolled out in between season 6 and 7 of Double Dip. I'm pretty certain I didn't see that, so that's definitely new. It's something I've been making use of. So yeah, pretty nifty feature if you're traveling across multiple different devices, but I still think Jake's team is pretty good. You've got some of the mainstays that have made his team pretty concerning. You've got Boom vs. Neuburn, also crazy, always crazy. You got Tropius with the stall set, which has worked like twice before, I want to say.
Yeah, but I do see a Rillaboom here, and Gudra does get Sap Zipper.
Yeah, so this is a team where Tropius is going to be put to the test. Also that. So I guess we're going to have to see if Tropius can keep it going.
Yeah.
Going into this match.
We'll have to see.
Starting with Hippowdon just like last week into a Rillaboom lead.
Yep.
Pretty rough. Yeah, Hippowdon wants to get out of there. Rillaboom loves its U-turn.
It goes fast, hits hard. Switches out though. Power
yep.
Very solid.
Hippowdon able to eat that up.
Yep. Stealth
Rocks. Very nice.
Yeah. Nice little bit of maneuvering there. Tropius coming in, like, grass type.
Yeah.
Gudra coming
Gudra now, we're going to see going forward, but I think this Gudra was prepped for one Pokemon in particular.
Yeah, I think so as well. I have to say, by the way, good switch on Nick, because this would have tricked a Choice Scarf onto Gudra, making it completely useless.
Yeah.
So, good call on Jake trying to do that onto Gudra, actually.
But unfortunately now, Horos has a Choice Scarf, but thankfully Lycanroc has its Sand Rush, so...
Yeah.
Glimora taking some hits. I wonder if this is probably a banded Lycanroc, that's why it didn't stay in.
Yeah, it's banded Lycanroc, I'm pretty sure. If it's the same set that I built a long time ago, it is.
Yeah. Hippowdon doing some damage.
Sigma Boom coming in, just taking hits all day, taking names. Tropius comes back, he clicks U-turn, look at all the health gone. Oh, it's okay, it's got Berry.
It's got a Berry.
And Gudra's here.
Gudra is setting its acid armor, as it is one to do.
It is actually a shame that Deoxys didn't survive the attack, so it could still trick a band onto this thing. Hey, look, Sapphire.
Yep, that is the disruption to the Tropius scheme. Part 2 is Ice Beam.
Yep.
I can't say for certain because I think this set is just very good in general, but I am inclined to believe that a lot of this was built just to deal with Tropius because it made a name for itself last week.
Yeah.
Although Ice Beam, as we're going to find out, does do a whole lot to the rest of this team.
Mm-hmm. Lycanroc coming in, doing a close combat, and that only doing 28%, but we do have, ×3 defense boost.
Yeah, we're +4. The body press is going crazy. Draco Meteor, just doing its best to break this thing down.
Yeah.
Gudra is just a unit.
Yeah, and at this point, this comes out and doing 23 with the Moonblast. Ice Beam doing 20 to this thing.
Yeah. Battle of 2 immovable special walls.
Yeah.
Glimora coming out. Unfortunately, this Florges is running Substitute.
Yeah.
Probably would have been nice to see it in front of Gudra first, because now we're dealing with poison. Although, at this point, you do have back Scarlet, which I can't say for sure, but I know it doesn't like running it. It was running Icicle Spear. It puts Florges in a very bad position.
You know, had Jake actually wished instead of subbed earlier and just kept blasting with Moonblast, might have been a little better off. Not by much, but might have been able to get one more kill.
Yeah, because it's like you're dealing with poison and not toxic, so you could have at least tried to stall it a little bit more. But, you know, at this point, it was still looking pretty locked up for Nick here. He was looking pretty comfortably, but, you know, still hanging in there. Very admirable.
Yeah, and Nick was, you know, getting a good solid win right there because we had some shuffling over on the scoreboard.
Right.
Want to grab the top half this week?
Sure. So in top 4, so starting us off, we have the Heerlen Hawluchas 6-0, pretty good, undefeated. Differential of 18. We have Loafville Lanturns 4-2, 9 differential. Martian Mantines 4-2 as well, with a 5 differential. Don't drop the Dedennes 3-3, 3 differential, very clean. And onto the bottom 4.
We have Menma, the Minnesota Jynx, at a 3-3 at 2. Jake at the San Fran Furrets at a 2-4, -10. Southtown Sandslashers at a 1-5, -10. And the Lansdowne Luxrays at a 1-5, -17. So with that being said, we have locked out 6th through 8th cannot make playoffs at this point. The differential that's Jake has is way too low to even get near. Even if Minnesota Jynx gets 6-0 next season, that would only put him at a -4, and that would also and that would put Jake at a -4, and that wouldn't be enough. Even if Bananas loses, Bananas would still be at a -3 if he gets 6-0.
So we're figuring out our placements a little more. I know, because I'm looking right at it, and you just said it. I think 4th place can really go anywhere. Honestly, I also think I think the order of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all of that is up for contention.
Yep.
I do think both the Loafville Lanturns and the Martian Mantines are looking pretty set. At least staying in playoffs wise. I don't know if they'll stay in 2nd and 3rd respectively. They might. Kind of depends on how their matches go.
Yeah. And that's going to depend on Minnesota Jynx, I feel like, too, because here's the thing. Nick is fairly fine at a 4-2 and 9. But if Nick gets 6-0 and the Minnesota Jynx 6-0 their opponents, they can swap.
Right.
So anyone from 2nd to 5th is still in contention for the running because it's so close in differential. And they
really have to lock in. They can't relax on their week 7.
No, and
as if one of your opponents just does too well, if Menma does too well in their match, they do have a chance of knocking them out.
Yep. So it's still anyone's game from 2nd to 5th place. Now Vincent is locked away in 1st with the bye, no matter what happens at this point. Which we did say last week was likely.
Yeah, and now we're finding it to be true.
Yeah. Which is exciting. So we do have a couple of crazy matches actually coming up over here on the current total week. I think some of the big matches that we're going to see. I do see Bananas fighting Jake of the San Fran Furrets. I think it's likely in favor of Bananas for that, which would put him at a 4-3.
But we don't want to.
We don't want to assume anything.
I mean, we'll have to see. Bananas is a previous season champion, and they're doing pretty good so far.
Yep.
But I'm not going to count anybody out because San Fran Furrets has had some pretty crazy wins so far. Their 2 wins have been pretty good.
Yep, and then on top of that, we do have Growan, Lansdowne Luxrays versus Menma, and we have seen Growan beat Bananas this season.
That's true.
And if that happens and he beats Menma, then Menma will fall out of any chance of making it. We do also have, where is it? We have the Martian Mantines fighting Vincent. And that's an interesting fight because Martian Mantines wins, that's fine, they both stay in. But if the Martian Mantines loses and Bananas gets the win and Menma gets the win, then he's out of playoffs. And depending on the differential, Nick could drop down to 4th or drop out. And that would
be a pretty crazy position, but it is still possible. I mean,
it is.
If Minnesota Jynx wins and they win by 3, and if Nick loses by 3, I think that might be enough to push him out because that would bring the Minnesota Jynx to 5. Oh no, that would bring
win by 4.
Yeah. It would, win by 4, lose by 4.
Yep.
A little bit harder, but still possible. So Nick's got to be on his guard.
Yeah.
This can't be close to have him in contention. He's got to have a pretty decisive win. Because Menma has a pretty scary team.
Yeah. And Nick this week,
so you can't count on them losing.
Yeah. And Nick this week is fighting Spood, and that's a tough match. Spood has previously.
It's a scary team because,
Good.
He now has Ursaluna, Blood Moon, and Dragonite, bolstering his draft.
On top of being a good seasoned veteran player and having gone to playoffs every season since for a little while, I believe, actually.
Yeah. Just because he's like 1-5 right now, you can't discredit him because a lot of those wins were because of some pretty nasty luck. And Cody's not the kind of person that just, stops playing because things are looking pretty rough. I think he's still going to try his best. Wants his stats to look good, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wants Ursaluna Blood Moon to go for kill leader, and if he wants that, I think he's going to be fighting like Demon. So you can't just take it easy.
Yeah, because again, like looking back at these previous seasons, every season except for season 3, Spood has gone into playoffs, with season 5 being in 2nd place. And that's no joke. So again, I think it's going to be hard fought and a crazy last week in Scarlet to really watch and see where people fall. Not that the other weeks are like that. We have some crazy stuff in the other weeks. In our own division, Violet division.
Yeah.
Currently, only 4 places up for contention. It is between me and the Canadian Cottony. So go check out that video, see all about that. And the Teal division is a little crazy too, but we don't have full information just yet on Teal division. So it's up in the air. We really have to wait and see. You need to check out that video, but I think Scarlet's got a lot of heat. Violet is a couple of specific fights that need to happen to see where all the pieces fall.
We still haven't finished. As of recording, we haven't finished week 5.
Week 6.
So I think, Hartford Honchcrows in Violet still does have a chance depending on how their week 5 goes.
Week 6.
Unfortunately, they're week 6, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we won't see their week 6 until Wednesday, which makes me question if we'll even have these ready on time because of all these delays.
I know.
I guess we're going to have to see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. But I'm so excited for these last fights and for week 7. And we'll say in the final reporting, I just want to give another thank you to everyone playing, participating, having fun, and a good time with all this. I'm so excited to see playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the live stream. We got the Dippies coming up.
It's going to be so much fun.
And we're coming down to the end of Double Dip Season 7. It's going to be kind of crazy. But stay tuned and stay awesome, and thanks for participating. We'll see you in week 7 for Scarlet and Teal.
Let's go.
And probably Violet.
We'll see.
So Flying Ant stuff.
Flying Ant, yeah.
Yeah, what about all that stuff?
And the beetle. So Flying Ant, I don't know. I just thought it would be kind of cool to be a giant flying ant.